Well, drivers have been protesting on the streets of Oxford after it was announced that the city's hated LTN, that's low traffic neighbourhood scheme, would be made permanent despite widespread opposition by many local people and businesses. It's the latest assault in the war on motorists and comes as polls show the majority of people in Wales oppose the nation's new 20-mile-per-hour speed limits in most urban areas after that was brought in. Well, joining right now to discuss all of this is former Office for National Statistics statistician Jamie Jenkins. Good afternoon to you, Jamie.
Good afternoon, Julia.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, you've been crunching some of the numbers on this. I mean, let's start, if we will, in Wales, with what's been going on in Wales. They brought in this 20-mile-per-hour zone. It's nationwide. It's not compulsory, but pretty much every urban area has said where it used to be 30 miles per hour, instead of 20 mile per hour being just for outside schools or particularly congested areas, it's pretty much across the board. Not a very popular move, and what a surprise. It's not proved very good for the Welsh government, the Welsh Labour government, in the polls.
No, it hasn't, Julia. You're right. So this 20 mile an hour is pretty, I haven't got to go far out of my front door and I'm stuck straight into the 20 mile an hour zone. Most people in Wales support these 20 mile an hour zones when you're talking exactly what you said, outside schools. It makes total sense. But this is pretty much across the country where it used to be 30 miles per hour. Most of them are 20 mile an hour. There are some kind of exemptions that some local authorities have put in, but most places are. And some polling's been done. There were different polls done before he was introduced. So it came in September the 17th. Some polls showed that there was opposition against this even before it was brought in. But one of the companies that the Welsh government were using was kind of showing that there was marginal support for it. But the same company have asked the exact same question a month later, and the poll has shifted the other way. So now we've got 59% of people opposing it, only 29% in favour. And the minister, Julia, who brought this in, Lee Waters, he's the Deputy Minister for Climate Change. He said that he expected, as people get used to it, support will rise. Well, it's gone the complete other way. They can't read the room, Julia.
But again, a lot of these things, we're often told, oh, it's going to speed up your your travel time, because if we're all driving the same speed, we're not stopping and starting. We're told it's going to be great for emissions. We're told, it doesn't matter what it is, net zero. Apparently, people driving at 20 mile per hour, not 30 mile per hour, apparently it's going to solve climate change. People are sold a complete load of nonsense on this stuff. People are very sensible about saying, yeah, do you know what? I think a 20 mile per hour zone around schools in really built up areas is sensible. It will save lives. Kids running out of the pavement. It'll just make everything a bit safer. Most people are reasonable about that. When it's sort of a journey at sort of 3 in the morning, on the way to or from an airport or something, and you're in a built up area, no one on the streets, just sort of trundling along. It's actually, in lots of modern cars, it's quite hard to drive that slow on an empty road. You have to constantly just sort of take your foot off the pedal. People know it's a nonsense, don't they? That's the thing. They know it's a nonsense.
Yeah, and you're right to point out, the opposition to this isn't just Conservative voters in kind of Wales. The Labour supporters themselves, remember, as you said, this is a Welsh Labour government. The opposition against this is with the Labour supporters as well, and Mark Drakeford's approval rating has gone down. And yeah, I drive out my road here, Julia. I've got a school very close by. It's been 20 mile an hour before this introduction, which made sense. I go a little bit further down the road. It's completely open. There's no cars parked. I can see both pavements, and it's still 20 mile an hour. Yeah. It makes no sense. And the argument that some of the ministers are using is that this will save lives. But some studies have shown that even the reduction from 30 to 20 mile an hour doesn't necessarily improve road safety. Okay. So that's one thing you've got to consider. And they spent £32 million on this. Would that have been better off spent on the NHS, where you could save even more lives? I mean,
God, we like to spend money on signage in this country, don't we? I'd love to know what was spent on, during lockdown, all these little walk this way in the supermarket arrows. And I mean, it's terrifying. Let's talk about Oxford as well, because this whole 15-minute city, low traffic neighbourhood, these schemes, Oxford has been one of the sort of the guinea pigs, hasn't it? And lots of people, they tried to bring these in against often local communities during lockdown periods. A lot of people went, yeah, we're done with this. East End of London, where I did my newspaper training, yeah, they're not having any of it at all. That's those cameras, those bollocks, they're gone every morning. You can put them back, they're gone the next day. But in Oxford, a lot of people are really concerned. I mean, I lived there for a few years, and the traffic is appalling anyway. It's absolutely shocking. No one out of their choice would drive anywhere in central Oxford. You're only doing it because you have to get somewhere. But they decided to go ahead with this low traffic neighbourhood scheme, which basically will limit where you're allowed to drive in the city, depending on where you live. Really, punishing you with fines if you drive out of your area. This is very sinister stuff, and especially when it hasn't got broad popular support.
No, but you look who runs the council there. It's a Lib Dem Green council. Makes, no surprise there, Julia, when you see that. And you're right, this war on motorists continues. But ultimately, it's exactly the same as the thing in Wales, Julia. Democracy, you're a big fan of democracy. You talk about it a lot. People need to vote these people out. Obviously, we can protest about these things, but there will be another local election. There'll be a Welsh election. If there's no support, you've got to get out. A lot of these are...
don't just moan about it. Can I just say, I've only got a few seconds left. I want to show us just a very quick clip of a French nun. She knows how to tackle a lot of these things. She's rugby tackled an environmental protester in France. Hope we can get that on screen. She genuinely just went for it. Is this... It's just wonderful footage. She genuinely just runs after him, throws him to the ground in a field. I'm wondering if that is how we should be dealing with these things in future, Jamie.
Oh, I think we could do with some of these nuns over in London with these Just Stop Oil protests.
Bring the French nuns over to sort everybody out. Big thanks to you, Jamie Jenkins, former statistician with the ONS. Thank you very much for joining us on that.